The fan is actually like blowing right on my way. So if the fan sounds too much, let me know. And if it doesn't matter, then tell me that too. Today I have a really deep, like another deep contemplation. I know that my life, where I am at, what I'm here for, it will lead me into the place where I get to experience everything. And that can sound overwhelming, but also like I know I have a feeling, and it just like it cannot not be that, because if it's not that higher, that like I if it's not like I can't help have it all, then there is some really deeper issue within myself that causing me to never go for the things that I have set myself to experience in the first place, which is like before I was born, I have tied a knot with this destiny that I'm about to experience in this life. I have this feeling for so long that if it's not happening in my life, then I choose the really difficult level ever. And actually, my veil is really good right now, so it's not like swaying here and there. So that's like something I want to say. I'm just really proud of it. But what I'm saying here is because I have this feeling, I always live with other contradictory um, connection. If I have this, I also have the other things that going against it as well. So in this realm, if I get to have everything, it doesn't mean that I want everything. It's just that I get to have everything in this life. But sometimes I don't need to have it that way. So in case of money, because I am building my wealth code, my wealth system, there is this feeling of I would have the money, I would have the way to eventually get any amount of money in this world, but I don't need to live that much to like have a good life. In my current life, in my current state, it took like 2K for the whole year. Now, if I'm living with myself in my own house, in all of the things, the standard that I'm going for, it only take like 20K to maintain, and at most it take like 200K to maintain. And outside of that, I don't need any more amount than what I need to sustain my life. So there is like a basic, like the baseline is that much. And this is why I'm so in dilemma about what would I do if I have more money than that. Because if I have the wealth code, if I have created the system to create my own wealth, I would have every channel to eventually lead me to the money that I will have either way. If I have the will, I want this much money, and then I know where to go to get it, and I will get it. I know that. But it's like I don't need it because I don't have that much of responsibility, that much of a dream, and the things that can sustain my business, which is like it's not even my dream. I'm just like here because I was so triggered, but there's so many people that don't understand this kind of thing, and then I'm just the person who get to not say to share what it would be to live this way. And to sustain my business, it will only take like because I feel like I would make so much money at first without anyone else. I would either use the AI to help me or the system to help me create that much of money. But eventually, I would try to sustain the work by myself because I'm really good at taking care of the technology itself and some other space like the financial, the mm, legality of the business and all that stuff. It would probably I would need to hire anyone else. But outside of that, the money that can sustain my business by my own, if I'm like still taking care without any employee, I would take like freaking 30, 50K at least. And I'm like, that's it. And the biggest part is that when something goes wrong, now that fund, the 50K was like the fund to take everything go back to normal when something is wrong. So I already like set this baseline. Like I need this much of money to sustain my life personally. I need this much of money to sustain my business. And if by sometime in the year I get all of that money, I'm good for the year. We don't know for the next year. We don't know for the next year. So, but that's it. It's not that much. Considering the business that I'm creating is not a low ticket offer. The least, not the least, the lowest offer I have is like $112, and then the highest can be like 100K, 150K if I have the space for that. But currently the highest is like 2K. So I get one client, I can cover the whole year already for my personal life. And then I need to set up the foundational legality of my business after that, and then the system, the financial system. Then after I set that up, I eventually can drill myself to my work because now I don't need to be afraid that something would happen to my business because I have set the legality, I have set this financial automation system and all that stuff. So I can easily, and also like the experience itself to work with the client, if I have that certainty already, I can easily create 200K. That's my confidence. Now, it's great that I have the confidence, but right now there's nothing that specifically can say, realistically say that I can achieve that. But planning wise, that's the least I can get in my business. Now, I have heard so many people in my industry that catching up to 1 million a month is easy. And I'm like, it is. If you have all the offer, if you have all the space and the system that can help you to do that, then you would have that much money by the end of the month. But also there is this crazy man that actually charge 1 million for one session. But it's not crazy to tell that he offered that service to only the CEO, because CEO was like, you got more money in bank and your problem is like maybe much personal than you thought, and you don't need that much of time to implement whatever it is you got, and you don't have that much of time to implement. So 1 million for CEO is like nothing. If you're in the business that just like take you to like freaking 100 millions a month or a year, that is nothing. So that's one of the key, the offer itself. So the creation of my wealth is already on the go. It is like I'm still trying to get the experience itself. But at some point, like trying doesn't work well with me because I know I'm gonna get there. So the confidence never sway at any point in my life. I just know that this is my life. I know where I'm going. But that's the thing. When I have all the baseline. I also have another thing, which is I'm not a spender. I don't attract to the luxury brands. I don't like a label, like a giant label on my stuff. So I usually buy something that is not um, popular, not trendy, because I just don't like to have that thing in my hand. And Apple and then Dior, Chanel, and all that stuff is just like so branded, and I never get to like it. I never like follow that trend. It's fascinating that they have that kind of ability to sell and they have that much of demographic in the first place, but I am not their people. So I also like curious, what would I do with that much of money? Because if you can't find the channel to spend it, it's like a still water. It creates toxicity because, as you also know, not many people who have a lot of money will use it for good. And some people would think the toxicity of having that much of freedom will cause more pain than peace. So, because I still don't have the channel to spend, the will to spend on things in this life, I have that block right now. And in order to not have it, I have dream so many things. Maybe we can set up a non-profit association, whatever it is, company that set this much amount of things to spend, that eventually I spend my money that way. But also like, even then, even if I spend it, I can I can still see that I would have more than I ever need. And I'm like, okay, then what else do we spend it on? But if we look at a different space on this, if we look at in, I just saw a reflection really weird there, and I'm like, okay, I thought I see it wrong, but it is still there. So if we look at from the lifestyle perspective, I do have that luxury recognition, meaning that if something is actually up to my standard, I would buy it no matter how pricey that thing is. And there are things that was so pricey at this moment, but I can't reach it, so I would probably buy it then. But then, now that I talk more about this, I can sense that it start to dilute into, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't, the pain now, it doesn't make sense. Like I don't embody the pain anymore. But the fear itself for not knowing what to do is so profound that sometimes I feel it and sometimes I don't. And now I thought about it throughout the day. Now that I'm talking about it, it starts to dissipate. And this is like getting me into the things that I want to share when I start to share my offers next week's. Next week is that maybe you don't need to try to find a solution. Maybe you need to talk about it to eventually sense and see, oh, this is actually not a problem. And now I'm getting into the feeling that this is not a problem. It's just that a momentary intuitive instinct that telling me this could be a problem if we never get to address it in the way that now that I think about it, it actually connected to my depression state, meaning that I have this really melancholy feeling around nothing is matter in his life, and that leads me into a more depressive moment. And I think I had that this morning. And that's why like I have such a deep instinct to find a solution, because this is not good. The feeling is not good. But because I have moved, I have think through about it. Now that I say it, it doesn't necessarily feel like a problem anymore. I don't know if you catch it, but that's what I'm at. This is interesting. So now I don't really feel that this is a problem. Eventually I will get into a moment where I open to so many channels. We can go here to spend the money and connect with people. We can go here to eventually get our money this way and that way. I already think about like getting into a stock market and learn it from the numerology standpoint, because that guy is really good. So I think I'm gonna follow how he did it in order to play in that kind of realm. But the stock market is itself, it will already change by 2030. So I don't really know how the game will play after that, because the financial system will eventually modify itself to a point where we don't really need financial system anymore. But that itself will take like another 30 to 40 to 50 years in the future. So it will take a while, but we are heading that way. Now, this leads me into a different question. How is your connection with freedom? Because freedom itself is nothing in this life is blocking you from where you are to where you want to go. That is freedom. So if you think that nothing will stand in your way and you are free to go to anywhere, physically, mentally, spiritually, then what would you do? I think like no one else in this world at this moment knows the answer for this, because there are too many blocks inside of us that have not resolved. Then if we are in a space where nothing is blocking us, it would be like, I don't know. It's like we are set free in the wilderness, and nothing will eat us, nothing will come at us, and it's just like we are coming, exploring everything else. I wonder like how is your relationship with that? Because I have come to a story where I would either be staying put, stay at where I am, but then I can also like go somewhere when I feel the pull. And also there is no timeline. There's no timeline, there's no system, there's nothing that blocking you, and you're just like free to go wherever, whenever you want. And that's like the life that we are heading. At least that's what I'm here for. But yeah, coming back to the title of this stream is that if you have all the money in the world, what would you do? If you have the wealth code, your personal wealth code, what would you do? This is a really interesting idea to explore, contemplate, because it will tell you that nothing is blocking you. I just remember about the things that I said yesterday, which is the destiny. There are some people who likes to be in the suffering mode because that is their destiny lays. And if you understand that you have learned your lesson, and then the destiny doesn't need to be experienced anymore, And that's why sometimes there is no such thing as a karmic moment, because you have learned your lesson, you know how to alchemize it to your essence, your frequency, your soul, your heart, and you never get to experience it again. This is such a deep topic, but this is also why like so many people in on earth keep reincarnating for so long, because they don't have that synced in moment. Like they cannot alchemize it from just one lifetime. So they need to go over and over and over and over and over until they say, "Oh, I finally got it." But I wonder like how many lifetime have you gone through? Because there is no end. So you will never non-exist it in the first place. But if you can remember what lifetime is connected to your current one, you probably can guess. I can sense like 4 to 5, but it was like a phase in my life where okay, I was a guard in this kingdom. I was the force that helped create the earth, and then I was an alien in the space that was exploring something. I don't know. I was in a spaceship, and then I was just the alien, the captain of the ship. I was dead on, and that the captain actually dead on the floor, and then the supervisor was handling everything after I'm dead as one of the lifetime, and then I'm here as myself. Also, like I kind of like I blurly remember about a lifetime where I was my mom, and then my mom was my kid. That switch happened. And then other times is like I was just a man living alone in somewhere. There's also a lifetime that I remember. Oh yeah. But none of that is actually happened on Earth. That was happen on some other places that is not Earth. So, how many lifetimes do you connect it? This is a different question, but and sometimes people will say none. I would say that I have not lived on Earth until this lifetime. And that's why I hold the frequency, I hold the numerology of 9. So based on GG33, 9, if you have a life path 9, you are a new soul on Earth that just reincarnated for the first time. I don't know. I also feel like that. But there is also a sense of old soul because of other timeline, other lifetime that I got, that I remember connected to my current one. But that one, that 5 that I remember has never been happened on Earth. It was some other planet, some other reality, some other dimension. And I was a different being too. Like this is my first human body. That's why I always feel weird looking at my hands, looking at my arm, my shoulder. It was like I don't feel human. And that's why I have such a hard time grounded my body because of that. And that's weird that Gary, the guy that created GG33, to mention something along it. As a 9, you are the first. You are the first. This is your first reincarnation to be a human, of being a human. I'm like, that's interesting. I felt that too. Interesting that he said it, because the general consensus that people out there knows about 9 in numerology is that they are an old soul. They are here to do humanitarian something, and I'm like, it's connected, but it doesn't feel synced in to my understanding. So when I found that guy by chance, so every mentor that I found is actually by chance. I have never refer. I have no referral to these people. I just found them online. I was just like have the hint. Oh, I have this thing in my mind. I want to find this person, and then I found it. GG33. The original story is that I was connected to the number 33 so deep at one time because my guides were like 33, 33, and it just like keep ringing in the back of my mind. I was like, okay, let me see it, and then I look at it, I search it up, and then actually there's a guy with the lifetime 33 that is teaching, sharing his personal information, his personal founding on the information about numerology and astrology, and it's more practical than what people used to share. And I'm like, I love that. And also, he has served for so many years and have expanded his influence for so many times. So now that he is ready to be known to the masses, and I heard that he would run for the presidency for United States. I don't know. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. But if you find that guy, if that guy literally go up there to be the president, you will know that he is the guy that I mentioned, because he is the numerology guy with the number 33, and he is the Gary 33, so GG33. Now you know. But yeah, that was how I found him, because I got the insight of the 33 myself. But also, like, I have the number 33 on my human design. So human design have gates, a body graph, gates, in a total of 64, and I have the gate 33 as my sun sign. That's why I feel a connection to it. And it's already personalized for me. So my guides also tell me like 33, 33, 33, and I search it up. That's how I found him. Yeah. I didn't know we have spent 28 minutes together. So thank you for watching, and I hope you got something from